Good morning. I am Ibrahim Shuaibu and welcome to the program. Today, we begin with a statement that is already generating political debate across the country. Senator Abdulaziz Yari, recently appointed Director General of the APC Presidential Campaign Organization for the 2027 election, has expressed confidence that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will secure a second term and that the APC will continue to lead Nigeria beyond 2031. The statement comes at a time when political parties and emerging opposition coalitions are already positioning themselves for what promises to be a fiercely contested 2027 presidential election. But what exactly does the APC will rule Nigeria beyond 2031 means? Is Senator Yari simply expressing confidence in the party's electoral prospect? Or does the statement suggest that the APC already considers the 2027 election virtually settled? In a democracy, political parties are certainly entitled to be optimistic about their chances. But ultimately, it is the Nigerian electorate, not any political party, that determines who governs the country through the ballot box. So this morning, we want to interrogate the basis for this confidence. Is the APC's performance under the President Tinubu strong enough to persuade Nigerians to give the party another mandate? What are the issues that will determine the 2027 election? And does the APC have a realistic political strategy for remaining in power beyond 2031? And most importantly, is this confidence based on measurable achievement and public support, or is it simply campaign rhetoric? Our second major issue this morning is much more sensitive because it involves religion, alleged killings, and record of a former governor. Former Aviation Minister Femi Fani-Kayode has accused former Kaduna State Governor Malam Nasir El-Rufai of persecuting and marginalizing Christians during his 8 years in office. He has also alleged that Christians were killed and Christian communities were denied development and government allocations under former governor's administration. But allegations of this nature require something more than political claims or emotional narratives. If we are asking, did Nasir El-Rufai kill Christians in Kaduna, we must first clarify what precisely is being alleged. Is the allegation that El-Rufai personally ordered or participated in killings? Is it an allegation that killings occurred during his administration and that his government failed to protect Christian communities? Or is it an allegation of deliberate persecution based on religion? These are very important claims and each requires different evidence. That is why our conversation this morning is not about defending or condemning any individual. It is rather about separating fact from allegation, political accusation from verifiable evidence, and the experiences of victims from the claims of politicians. Kaduna has a long and complicated history of communal and religious violence, particularly in southern Kaduna, and any serious assessment of El-Rufai's record must examine evidences, the security situation, government policies, and the testimonies of affected communities. We'll take a look at all of this, but before then, we are going on a short break, and when we return, we will review today's newspapers with our reviewer, Malang Hassan Tom, who is a media consultant. So stay tuned and don't go away. Welcome back to our first segment this morning where we review the papers. And to do the review this morning, I am with Malam Muhammad Hassan Tom, who is a media consultant. Good morning, Mr. Hassan. Good morning, Mr. Hassan. Are you with us? Good morning, Mr. Hassan. Are you with us? I think you've muted your mic, Mr. Hassan. Can you unmute it, please? Can you please unmute your mic, Mr. Hassan? It seems we are experiencing a little technical hitch over there. Hello, Mr. Hassan. Are you with us? I think Mr. Hassan has muted his mic. Okay. So we start with the Nigerian Tribune with the bold headline there: fuel subsidy sparks debate at NBA conference in Rivers. Fuel subsidy sparks debate at NBA conference in Rivers. Then down below we have writers such as Yari, Amechi, Obi in ferry exchanges. And then return to fuel subsidy will reverse Nigeria's economic gains. Information Minister. Is our guest with us?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Hassan. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
I noticed you experienced slight technical hitches from your side this morning.
Yes, it's all fine.
Thank you. Thank you. You're welcome. Are you ready to take the papers together?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. So, Mr. Producer, let's see the first paper this morning. Yeah, we start with the Tribune with the headline: fuel subsidy sparks debate at NBA conference in Rivers. Fuel subsidy sparks debate at NBA conference in Rivers. Then we have another headline there: NNPC Shell. Others signed Bonga Southwest / Aporo deal, target FID. Then police honor 10 foreign officers as IGP vows to crash banditry. Others after KB bottle. 2027. INEC yet to full funding 5 months to general election. INEC yet to get full funding 5 months to general election. Let's start with the largest headline there: fuel subsidy sparked debate at NBA conference in Rivers, Mr. Mohammed. Yari, Amechi, Obi in ferry exchanges. Return to fuel subsidy will reverse Nigeria's economic gains, says Information Minister. What will be your take this morning, Mr. Muhammad Hassan?
Thank you, moderator. I think it is a very laughable comment to say that the return of fuel subsidy in any form will reverse the economic gains of the subsidy removal announced in 2023 by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Because to the average Nigerian, there are practically no gains whatsoever to be reversed. Now, the issue is very emotive because there have been serious concerns over the subsidy regime in the past because of the abuse and corruption associated with the program. However, it does not mean that there are no modifications that could be made to improve the subsidy regime. Subsidy is actually an issue that is applicable in even the most advanced economies in the world. In the EU, for example, even agriculture, which is a very private venture, is being subsidized to the tune of, in some reports, a single cow in the EU enjoys at least €2 subsidy a day from the government. So
a cow for that matter.
Subsidy is an anomaly, is a very inhuman kind of regime, and I think it is part of the dictates of the IMF and World Bank, whose suggestions or recommendations have been adopted since the late 1980s, and it has continued to worsen the economic condition of the common Nigerian people. Therefore, subsidy in a modified form of subsidy is a very welcome development and something that should be seriously looked into by any incoming government.
Well, but there are sections of Nigerians that believe Atiku saying that if elected to office, he may likely bring back subsidy. It's just a mere political rhetoric because they say Atiku in the first place was one of the person that was totally supportive of the idea of privatizing Nigeria's refinery before now. So they were just saying maybe perhaps this is just a mere political statement aimed at winning Nigerians because he knows that this is actually the bottom line of pain for the Nigerians. What will you say about that?
It is possible that it's just a political statement. However, it is also possible that there is he has done a review of his past views,
Exactly.
review of the situation that the total and unconditional removal of soil subsidy has brought on the country. And Nigerians are becoming very much aware by the day of their rights, and I think that any politician that makes false promises.
Hello?
From the Nigerian electorate, and will be careful about making reckless statements.
Of course, I agree with you because our politicians at least always have a right to review their earlier statement and then turn back against it if they feel it is in the interest of the nation. That's right. Let's take another. Yes, still in the same paper, 2027. INEC yet to get full funding 5 months to general election. INEC yet to get full funding 5 months to general election. And are you also of the view that this might affect their strategy and plans for the election?
Yes, it adds to the tension and the apprehension being expressed by many Nigerians across the board over the intention of the government to conduct free and fair elections in 2027. As you may be aware, there have been serious controversy over the appointment even of the chairman of the National Electoral Commission, who has come under very serious criticism over his partisanship, his former membership of the ruling All Progressives Congress, as well as some other researches and comments he has made about the so-called genocide in Nigeria, which is submitted to the U.S. Congress and which has brought us, made Nigeria a country of particular concern.
APC.
So this adds to the apprehension and the suspicion of many Nigerians that there are moves on their way to actually manipulate the election. And one of them may be denying funding to the last minute, so that that will throw another spanner in the works and enable whoever wants to manipulate the elections results another opportunity to do so.
Yeah, that's right. Let's take the remaining headlines and then we move on to the next paper. We have here 2 killed at RTW Motor Park official clash in Ocean. JAM automates candidates all-level result upload, begins direct verification with exam bodies. Nigeria lost $1.73 billion to flooding in 3 years, according to report. Tinubu flags of dualization of 56.5 kilometer road, Ibadan, Ijebu or the road. So, can we go to the next paper, please? Next paper. Now is the Guardian. Commuters, businesses grown as Edo Delta gridlock cuts off South-South. Commuters, business grown as Edo Delta gridlock cuts off South-South. 2027, Nigeria needs faithful, not religious president, says Ido Farron. Nigeria needs faithful, not religious president, says Ido Farron. CDHR demands probe of fake government agencies. CDHR demands probe of fake government agencies. Dangote halts Bemstock. Import as domestic petrol supply falls 21%. Let's take that CDHR demands probe of fake government agencies. So I thought the issue of the fake agency is dead already. What do you think is bringing it bring it back again now this time around, Mr. Mohammed?
I think that the numbers, the growing numbers are becoming very, very worrisome. And to the extent that right now Nigerians may not actually know the number of fake agencies and fake officials that are running around and collecting budgetary allocations and executing very many activities that have not gone through the due process. And I think it's also an indictment of the National Assembly oversight functions. And that the fact that nobody is, at this point, nobody has been made to answer for the various discoveries of the fake agencies and fake officials is also a cause for concern among many Nigerians. Therefore, the call by the Committee for the Defense of Human Rights for more probe into the fake government agencies is a very welcome development, and it should put our oversight, our legislators and their oversight function into the spotlight.
State imposed hidden fees on operators despite slashing ROW charges. And then Dangote halts bloodstock import as domestic fuel supply falls to 2%. So fuel supply falls to 2%, Mr. Mohammed. And Dangote is making effort now to stop imports. What do you think? Will that translate into the difficulty with which Nigerians are now having access to the very precious commodity in the market?
Now, that ties in with the earlier story in the Tribune about the return or no return of fuel subsidy.
Yeah.
One of the easiest measures that we can see for bringing the federal government to make allocations and sell in Naira as it promised to Dangote and other local refiners. However, the continued exclusion of Dangote from local supplies to the point that it's now just 2% means that it's importing fuel, crude oil from as far as Russia and America. And that, of course, has to translate into higher costs. And I'm not a very good expert in the oil industry, but I feel that this country has enough raw crude oil to supply our local refiners because there is an opaque quota beyond which we cannot even export.
Exactly. Yes.
So what are we doing? What are we actually doing with the excess crude that we have in the country? If you take the recent discoveries in Bombay and the Benue Gulf,
in the Northeast region,
you find that they have even been abundant. So why are we not using enough? Why can't we supply enough local crude oil to Dangote and the other refineries so that that will automatically bring down the cost of fuel? So that's a very serious question that the authorities may need to explain to Nigerians why it is not possible for these refiners to get our local crude for domestic production.
Indeed. One last headline on this paper, then we move to the next. Banks account for 92% of suspicious transactions filed in 2025. Banks account for 92% of suspicious transactions filed in 2025. Let's see the next paper, please. Daily Sun. APC will remain in power beyond 2031. Boss Yari, Tinubu's campaign DG, says Atiku will be others incapable of stopping president. What a bold statement, Mr. Mohammed, won't you say?
Yes. If you recall, the erstwhile ruling party, the People's Democratic Party, made the same boast.
Exactly.
Through
the mouth of Male El-Rufai. I remember.
Near the end of its tenure.
Exactly.
So this could be the dying cry of another ruling party. Unfortunately, the opposition, like many commentators have been pointing out, do not seem prepared to actually take over. But maybe the determination of the Nigerian electorate will answer that question ultimately in February 2027.
So we have another headline there. Please, Mr. Producer, can you zoom it? Anglican Archbishop stops what? Anglican Bishop, no, up the paper, please. Anglican Bishop, federal government, stop denying hardship in Nigeria. Anglican bishop to the federal government stop denying hardship in Nigeria. You recall, you can link that to the Catholic bishop's visit to the presidency just early last month. Do you have anything to say on that? This is the Anglican bishop now.
Yes. Yes. It is also another cry of desperation when a ruling party denies the obvious. It shows how desperate and how worried they are about their position and their achievements in office. And like I said earlier, it's now left totally for Nigerians to decide whether
the hardship is enough or they can bear it. Exactly.
Are true or not.
That's interesting. So we'll take the last three riders down below and then we move on to our last paper because time is obviously against us. Return to fuel subsidy will reverse economic gains, says federal government. Return to fuel subsidy will reverse economic gains, says federal government. Ogun APC crisis deepens. Leaders fight dirty. U.S. pledges $125,000 to preserve 4,000-year-old Enugu iron smelting site. Then Nigeria's external reserve gains $7.09 billion, hit $52.68 billion so far. This is on this paper. Is it the Tribune? So let's see our last paper because we have less than 4 minutes now. The Punch. Terrorists using dead person's account crowdfunding, NFIU. Terrorists using dead person's accounts crowdfunding, NFU. Riders below say proxy account, SMS, SIMs, coded transfers to move illicit funds, NFIU report. Terror commanders control account open in names of wives, sisters, and associates. Criminal network exploit banking telecom loopholes as experts demand tighter checks and intelligence sharing. Wow. So, Malam Ahmed.
So this is also an indictment of the security agencies to an extent and the telecommunication operators. We are aware that technology has reached the point that you can hardly move anywhere, even as a person, without your being traced. And it's so ridiculous that funds in the millions and billions are being moved around by terrorists and they are not detected.
Exactly.
So this ties into the conspiracy theory, although I'm not a believer in them, that if a crisis like this cannot be contained, it means that those in authority are not interested in containing it.
Definitely
because probably they are benefiting from it, from the crisis situation.
So that's interesting. And then we have other headlines there. Let's just headlines before we close. Let's see. Down below the paper. Okay. Poor varsity rankings could stunt Africa's growth, says Jonathan on page 12 of the Punch. Poor varsity rankings could stunt Africa's growth. 2027 debate, Obi Amechi, differ over subsidy, page 12 of the Punch. Awujale ruling house sues Ogun kingmakers. Awujale ruling house sues Ogun Lord kingmakers. Then down the page, U.S. steps up military training for Nigerian troops on page 7. Then down below, S. Actor Ogogo, buried. Tinubu Abiodun mourn. 7 killed, 2 injured in Ogun clash. And NNPC partners advanced $21 billion Bonga offshore project. Yeah. And I'm afraid that's all we have for on this segment. And thank you, Mr. Muhammad Hassan Tom, media consultant, and for doing this with me. And please remain online until after break for our first topic. Thank you, Mr. Muhammad.
You're welcome, sir.
So, viewers, let's go on a short break, after which we take up our first topic of the day. Stay with us. Don't go away.
You have gotten the contract.
Have you checked for red flags?
Red flag.
What is a red flag? Allowing your company to fall into inactive status on the Corporate Affairs Commission portal is a red flag. Businesses marked inactive may come under watch for suspicious activities, money laundering, kidnapping, or terrorism financing.
Red flags. We have filed our annual returns with the CAC.
Ensure your company remains active. File your annual returns every year. Corporate Affairs Commission, keeping your business safe and compliant.
Welcome back. We begin with a statement that is already generating political debate across the country. Senator Abdulaziz Yari, recently appointed Director General of the APC campaign organization for 2027 election, has expressed confidence that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu will secure a second term and that the APC will continue to lead Nigeria beyond 2031. This statement comes at a time when political parties and emerging opposition coalitions are already positioning themselves for what promises to be a fiercely contested 2027 presidential election. But what exactly does the APC will rule Nigeria beyond 2031 means? Is Senator Yari simply expressing confidence in the party's electoral prospect, or does the statement suggest that the APC already considers the 2027 election virtually settled? In a democracy, political parties are certainly entitled to be optimistic about their chances. But ultimately, it is the Nigerian electorate, not any political party, that will determine who governs the country through the ballot box. So this morning, we want to interrogate the basis for this confidence. Mr. Mohammed Tong, let me begin by asking this question. Senator Yari says the APC will continue to rule Nigeria beyond 2031. What, in your assessment, is the strongest evidence supporting this level of confidence?
Well, first of all, I would not like to call it confidence. I would rather call it desperation. If you take the example of the last governorship election in Osun State, the ruling APC constituted what should amount to a war council comprising 149 of the most powerful political office holders in this country, just for one state.
Wow.
In addition, they mobilized over 15,000 police and undisclosed number of other security agents. Some estimates totaling calling it a total of over 30,000 security agents just for one election. So this desperation can be explained by the crisis that these individual political campaign council members are in. In one analysis, both the Director General, Senator Yari, and other key members of this campaign council are actually facing investigations by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission for loss or theft or embezzlement of billions of naira taxpayers' money.
Maybe such as former Minister of Humanitarian Abeta Edu.
Yes. In fact, even Senator Yari, the DG himself, is facing charges of when he was governor of loss of over 200 billion naira.
Wow, huge.
Which investigation is still going on. And he has not been cleared as far as the media has reported.
Exactly.
So these members are indeed very, very desperate, and they can make any kind of claims and statements to justify their optimism. And they are really desperate and not confident, in my own take.
Okay, it's not a matter of confidence, but actually desperation. Yes, and the APC will first have to win the 2027 presidential election before anyone can actually begin to seriously discuss what happens after 2031. Do you think that the APC is taking the 2027 contest for granted, perhaps?
Yes, which is what exactly the former ruling party, PDP, did in 2015. And as Nigerians have shown by their enlightenment, consciousness, and awareness, that may not actually work as planned. Osun State has shown an example,
Exactly.
and this could be repeated nationally.
So, next, my next question is: what major achievement or failures of the Tinubu administration do you believe will determine whether or not Nigerians vote for the APC in 2027, especially considering the plight of the citizenry as obtained presently, the skyrocketing price of commodities in the market, and unaffordable fuel prices of the petroleum product, especially petrol itself, and quite a number of other lower purchasing power, and even the continuously devalued naira?
Honestly, I don't see any ground for the ordinary Nigerians to vote back the ruling APC into power. In fact, the conditions of Nigerians have gone to the extent that right now, I was in Maiduguri recently, my home state, and you find that people actually, farmers in Maiduguri, in Borno State, migrate to Cameroon Republic, where they are hired as farm hands to farm the land, because they cannot simply farm their own land back home. Others are migrant workers right now in Niger Republic. These are countries with much smaller economies than Nigeria.
So they have become they have now resorted to becoming Barema.
Yes.
Wow, that's sad.
And if you check the insecurity, the worsening insecurity, that by the day, even yesterday, there was an incident in Niger State in which no one even knows the exact number of people that were killed or kidnapped in that incident. So it's just like a daily occurrence happening in Katsina, in Kebbi, in Sokoto, in Niger, in Kaduna, in Benue, in Plateau, in Borno, in Adamawa, in Taraba. If you go to the southeast, also so many very, very disturbing developments there that one can hardly see any point with which the APC should be campaigning or convincing Nigerians to vote back for it.
And with the opposition parties and political alliances already positioning themselves for 2027 election, what are the APC's biggest political vulnerabilities going into the election? I believe there should be. Are they vulnerable to some? Yeah.
Yeah, we have already mentioned the total lack of performance, the abysmal security conditions, the worsening economic doldrums, and all these are weaknesses that are bound to play and determine the outcome of the 2027 elections. But like I mentioned earlier, the only strong point they may have is that the opposition itself is not as organized as it should be. It started well when major contenders were together and formed the AGC coalition, which unfortunately seemed to have been injected with the same virus that the APC is suffering, and is offering a very, very weak front. But the answer still lies in the hands of the Nigerian electorate.
But do you think there's a possibility of the opposition coming back together once again as they initially tried to do, considering the fact that by now each of the other opposition presidential candidates and their parties as well might have noticed that each individual standing on his own may not be able to scuttle things against the ruling party? Do you think there's any possibility of them coming together? And if there are, why do you think so? Or what might have been the hindrance against them coming together to form one stronger coalition to challenge the ruling party coming 2027 election?
Yes, clearly this is what they should do, because as individuals or as separate parties, they stand a very little chance of overcoming the APC, which has dominated all the political power holds. But what is coming between them is the personal ambitions of probably each of the main contenders for the presidency. But there are still, I'm not one to ever say never. There's still hope that if they realize that individually they cannot actually make any headway in providing Nigerians with an alternative, that at some point in time, we still have about 6 or 7 months, and at some point in time, they could still decide in the interest of Nigerians and overlook their own personal ambitions and come together and call for the election of a single one of the opposition parties or candidates.
But we only have 5 months to the election, and already some of those parties already have some internal crisis and division within themselves. For example, now recently we had one of the strongest ally of Konkoso in the person of Hanga in Kano has already pulled out of the Konkosia movement, and this has drastically, according to some analysts, has drastically reduced the strength and capacity of the Konkosia movement, for which Peter Obi was initially, that was what actually attracted Peter Obi to Konkosia movement. And then now, Hanga himself has pitched his tent with the ruling party. And even within the ADC, there might have been some, although unpronounced, but there might have been some slight internal crisis going on within the party, although it is not actually publicly announced. Do you think that within these 5 coming months, they will be able to take care of all those problems and then even have some time to come together with other parties, other opposition parties, have a good meeting? And then there's also the PRP. There's Donald, Donald Duke. Is it Donald Duke is their presidential candidate, right? Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
exactly.
Everything is possible.
Exactly, and the marking
everything is possible under the sun.
Okay, yes.
Yes, everything is possible, and the very desperate should motivate these politicians, if at all they have the interest of the Nigerian people at heart, to make these moves. Even last week, I think there was a move called G100, which is aimed at bringing together the major opposition candidates. And we should not rule out the possibility that this is still going to be possible in the interest of Nigeria.
There are also people, especially around the within the social media space, that are saying that international cases against the incumbent President Bola Tinubu, for example, the release of documents that has to do with his drug issues in the past in the US is going to be pronounced, and then that might likely affect his candidacy coming 2027 election. But do you think that in itself is enough to affect the possibility, the political chances, election chances of the president? Because I heard that there's already some lobby group in the US trying to promote that. In fact, deadline was given. I think the deadline even expired a couple of days ago. Do you think that will somehow affect the chances of the president in the forthcoming election?
If you are looking at it from the international angle, especially the United States of America, I think that they are actually interested in maintaining the presidency of Bola Ahmed Tinubu, because it is in their interest to have a candidate that is compromised, a candidate that can easily be manipulated and convinced to continue doing their bidding, which already the APC government has been doing by collecting enormous amounts of loans that will tie up the future of Nigerian people, and also giving them full access, military access into this country, a country that has fought for other African countries, liberated other African countries, South Africa, Liberia, Sierra Leone, and others, that is now baking and attending conferences almost on a weekly basis with the United States officials in the name of getting security for Nigeria. So I think that angle is clear, that the Americans are interested in a weak candidate, a compromised candidate, and will continue to do everything possible to deny release of those documents that will indict the president. However, that should not even be our problem as Nigerians. Our problem should be his own performance. If Nigerian electors are satisfied with the conditions in which they are, then they'll probably vote back the APC. But if, as we can clearly see from all indices, that the government has performed awfully and woefully, then that should be what will determine the outcome of the elections, not the case that some opposition candidates are trying to make in the United States of America.
So if what you alluded to comes to be true or happens, what do you think will be the likely negative effect it will have on Nigeria, on the country as a whole? Having a president that is controllable to the foreign powers, don't you think this will spell doom to the future of the country, particularly economically, even politically?
Of course. That is why our immediate neighbors, the Nigerian Republic, Burkina Faso, Mali, they have resisted this kind of manipulations and have even sent out all the agents and companies that are trying to take over the sovereignty, especially over the natural resources of these countries. So what it will mean for us if the APC under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is brought back, it means that our sovereignty, what is left of our sovereignty, will be threatened and probably will become just another satellite of the West, where they will determine our security situation, our economic situation, and have very free access to our resources.
That's indeed true. As Yari is all over the place saying Nigeria will rule beyond 2031 election, don't you think the opposition will have now take advantage of the composition of the APC presidential campaign team for 2027? The fact that it involves, according to some report, quite a number of serving government officials that are already part of the campaign team. And doesn't it reflect a conflict of interest? And doesn't it even contradict provision, some sort of constitutional provision of the 1999 Constitution, assigning a serving public servant? Because the only person who's now appear clearly now is the National Revenue Services chairman, Mr. Zak, and others are saying there are even others. Don't you think the opposition party should have used this as a campaign issue? Because this is violation. This is violation of the, I think it's even illegal. Somebody holding such a sensitive position, the chairman of the National Revenue Service, being part of a campaign organization which is supposed to be actually a party affair, now is doesn't it show some sign of conflict of interest?
Very, very seriously. Like I said earlier, the entire campaign, APC National Campaign Council, is comprised of very compromised individuals, and then some that should not be on that list at all. You already mentioned the chairman of the National Federal Inland Revenue Service, who is a public official involved in a very, very sensitive institution that is serving all Nigerians across all parties. Then for him to also be a member of that council shows serious compromise. But the most worrying aspect of it all is that the opposition parties may not be able to take advantage of all these obvious anomalies, even criminalities, because to some extent, and I say this very reluctantly and with a very heavy heart, the judiciary itself may have been partially compromised or taken over, to the extent that they may not be able to give justice, even if the opposition parties try to raise up these issues illegally and take the legal path to resolving this obvious manipulation of national institutions and public office holders to become campaign managers for a party contesting in a multi-party democracy.
a Nigerian right to assume that is the taxpayers' money that's partly funding this 2027 Tinubu campaign, because when you see the chairman of the body that is responsible for collection of tax in the country becoming financial advisor or financial director to a campaign organization, don't you think Nigerians have the right to now assume that is their money that's going to fund this election? Because even this morning, I read some social media analysis to that effect, that it is very, very clear what this administration is telling Nigerians is that we are using your money to fund our campaign, with or without your liking, with or without your acceptance. So don't you think Nigerians are well positioned to chart this line of thinking?
Of course, this is very, very obvious. It needs no telling. I think one thing is that probably they are underestimating the intelligence of the average Nigerian electorate. If not, you cannot go out so shamelessly to bring in individuals that are in sensitive public offices and then recruit them to serve in a campaign of a particular candidate. It is an outright insult on the intelligence of Nigerians. And I'm telling you that this in itself is an indictment and a show of desperation that Nigerians will clearly see through. And if there are fair and free elections, there's no way that this campaign council will convince the majority of Nigerians to vote for the ruling party. What I would have liked to see, however, is a challenge, legal challenge by the opposition parties to these anomalies. But it may not happen, like I said, because unfortunately the judiciary itself may have been partially compromised over the last 4 years.
Of course, obviously. Let me follow this up with a question that's closely related to this. We always prided ourselves as practicing typically the American model of democracy. We've always been priding ourselves for this. Do you think it is still the same thing that's practiced in the United States, for example, presidential candidate using state resources to fund his campaign, or maybe appointing some key government officials to form part of his campaign team, particularly key officials that have to do with revenue, that have to do with resources of the country? Has it been practiced and in the US, at least, or maybe during Obama, during Trump himself, maybe before now? Has it ever been practiced like that before? I'm just confused. Maybe he might have seen it somewhere.
Well, I had a very good opportunity to study American democracy firsthand during the Clinton era when I was a visitor. But although the American presidential system is not corrupt-free, it is not done in the open like we are now, like the APC is trying to practice it. It's more subtle. Clearly, there are no key public office holders that come onto the podium to campaign for particular candidates. Not to talk of being members of the campaign council itself. So this kind of anomaly is, to me, very unheard of, very strange and very disturbing.
So, Mr. Mohammed, let's take this one last question. Before campaign slogan, what should Nigerians look at between now and 2027 to determine whether or not the APC genuinely deserve another mandate?
Well, they should look at the condition of living, the cost of living crisis, which ties in also with the very serious security situation that is getting almost out of hand, and then decide whether the current ruling contraption ought to be brought back, or they ought to change the composition of the federal government in the coming elections.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mohammed. I'm afraid this is time is not our friend, and this is where we draw the curtains on this topic. Thank you, Mr. Muhammad Tom Hassan, a media consultant, for your contribution, and we are always looking forward to having you, sir.
Thank you very much. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, viewers. We are going for another break, and when we return, we take up our second topic. Stay tuned and don't go away.
Tired of the snow? Tired of the bad TV signals? 388-7277. Free TV. Digital TV for free. Brought to you by NBC.
Well, good morning. You're very welcome once again to the next segment of the PMB Morning Show. It's a pleasure to be with you today. I'm Mickey Atta, happy to join Mr. Ibrahim Shaibu in the studio this beautiful public holiday morning. Oh, good morning, Mr.
Good
Ibrahim.
morning, Mickey. You still have to add the public holiday morning.
Yes, because as you know, we don't have public holidays.
Yes,
So those of you at
the media
home
for you.
enjoying, that's media work for
Yeah.
you. The work goes on. No
Essential services.
holidays.
Yeah.
But for those of you at home relaxing, I hope even if you're lying in bed, you've tuned on to the morning show this morning as we bring you every segment available so that you will still be abreast even though you're at home. All right, thank you very much once again, like I said. And you've had the first part of the discussion segment, which was handled by Mr. Ibrahim. Thank you very much. And right now, we'll be going straight into our second topic, which you might have seen displayed on the screen. Now, the second one is a major issue because it's more sensitive, being that it involves religion. Alleged killings and the record of a former governor. Former Aviation Minister Femi Fani Kayode has accused the former Kaduna State Governor Nazir El-Rufai of persecuting and marginalizing Christians during his 8 years in office. He's also alleged that Christians were killed and Christian communities were denied development and government allocations under the former governor's administration. But allegations of this nature require something more than political claims or emotional narratives. So we're asking, did El-Rufai kill Christians in Kaduna? We must first clarify what precisely is being alleged. Is the allegation that El-Rufai personally ordered or participated in killings? Or is it an allegation that killings occurred during his administration? I want to take the latter part, that killings occurred during his administration. Okay, in that case, we're very fortunate then to have Mr. Ibrahim Shaibu in our midst, because you lived, worked, and were actively a government public servant during the El-Rufai, Nasir El-Rufai governorship. So would you give credence, as we're fast checking this, were Christians killed, majorly Christians killed during the El-Rufai administration?
Well, you see, it will be misleading to just say Christians have been killed during El-Rufai administration. Killings have always been taking place before El-Rufai, after El-Rufai, across states in Nigeria. Killings happen due to communal crisis. In fact, in Kaduna, it is less due to religious crisis, mostly due to communal crisis. It started as killings between the Fulanis. You know, southern Kaduna is largely dominated by Christians, the southern part of Kaduna. But there are Fulanis living within the southern Kadunas. And then some of these Fulanis have been living there for hundreds of years. So they have become part and parcel of the Fulanis. For example, now among the Katab, you will find a very fair, light-skinned person, but he's still Katab. In fact, I have a colleague in the government office. He's a Katab man, but he's as fair as a Fulani man. So one time we were talking, he said they told him that part of his ancestors are actually Fulanis that have dwelt there for a long, long time. So killings have always been there. But I think what portrayed El-Rufai to have this kind of coloration around him is because of what actually happened when he was a governor. There was this community, they call it the Baguio community in Kaduna State. They developed a lot of quite large estate around that area on a land that would belong to Kaduna State Polytechnic. And then Nasir El-Rufai come and said he's going to demolish. You know, he's already known as a demolisher. Everything demolitions, every Nasir El-Rufai. And when he's demolishing, he doesn't think deep. He always like to demolish. I was also I was not actually supportive with the way he's demolishing places. So it was actually from that time that the crisis of El-Rufai and the southern Kaduna started happening. He gave them notice that's coming to demolish. And actually, you can't just demolish almost thousands of people. In fact, tens of thousands of people living in a community for a very long time. The previous administration were aware of that, but they have not taken action on that because they knew that it would ignite a lot of political and even lead to religious crisis. Particularly knowing that that area is dominated by Christians. And you coming as a Hausa Fulani Muslim saying that you are going to now demolish this. It's a huge area. There are quite a number of churches there. Even mosques are part of those areas. Because I remember along that Abuja Junction and another big mosque, in fact, the Reka Mosque situated there. It was all part of the demolition exercises. So once he put pressure that he's going to demolish this, that's the time they started having problems with the southern Kadunas. But then killings have already been taking place due to farmer-header clashes around northern Kaduna. But when they say, I think what statement I would like to hear is that he did not take proactive action to bring an end to this communal crisis that's taking place, particularly between the herders and the farmers.
All right. Well, what he's specifically specific on is the killings, not particularly the demolition, because demolition would have taken place and no lives would have been lost. But we had a situation whereby practically on Sunday to Sunday, you'd wake up on a Monday morning, maybe Sunday evening, to hear this or that church had been attacked. This or that people have been abducted within the church, or that church was blasted off. So that kind of thing now created that impression that the Christians were being targeted. So what we would want to know, did El-Rufai take any proactive steps in that case, like you were saying? Did he seem to show any proactive steps? If like this Sunday, people got bombed out in this particular part of Kaduna, the next Sunday another church, the third Sunday, the fourth Sunday, 4 Sundays in a row, and every Sunday churches were attacked. By the next month, you would have thought then maybe the governor would have secured that kind of a location on a Sunday or something. That way, because that was now the impression. By Monday morning, you're going to hear the gory news
When
of
those
churches
churches
being
were being
attacked.
attacked, was it being attacked across the local government, across southern Kaduna local government? Because I can't.
Right. It
Okay.
was like in
Around.
southern
So
Kaduna,
to that effect,
where,
I
like
think
I said, it's a
one bold
largely
initiative.
Christian population, creating that impression that it is Christians that are being attacked.
You see, what bold initiative I remember he took was that before that time there was no Ministry of Security, but he created Ministry of Internal Security and then brought out a very young, capable, and strong Southern Kaduna person, Samuel Arwan, and appointed him the very first maiden commissioner for internal security, and gave him all the privileges and all the authority to make sure that he has ensured peace is brought to the Southern Kaduna communities. And
But
then from
you
time
can
to
see
time,
that it didn't work because we have the same thing here now. We have a new minister, a brand new ministry created, and a new minister that in charge of Homeland Security. But guess what? Our Homeland Security is getting worse by the day. Before, Homeland Security was at least localized. Now, yesterday we heard about Kwara again. This is about the how manyth time in Kwara. We've also heard of Oyo. So it's no more localized, now spreading.
So exactly my point.
So, yeah,
exactly
so you are pointing
so there are
people.
there are governors in their state, and if even up to this very moment, such communal and religious crises take place across northern states. So we cannot just say today that we will just wake up tomorrow and say all the killings that is taking place between the Christian and Muslim in Plateau State is because the governors refuse to take action.
Are there killings between Christian and Muslims in Plateau State?
Every day we hear news that so number of people have been killed.
Did you hear Christian?
Of course we hear.
Christians in Plateau. Did you hear about Christians?
Of course, it's all over the news every time.
About
communal
Christians.
crisis. Every time, coloration or picture of religion or tribe always have to be added to these killings.
Not every time.
This is what we see.
No, not every time. Like if, for
what
instance,
about the recent
in Plateau
killing that took
State,
place? Yes.
In Plateau State, we have not seen a religious coloration to
what
it.
do we see?
We see killings of terrorists. We see terrorists coming to sack whole villages. But this particular one, that of Kaduna, that's why it's even coming back again in the news. This one seems to have a religious coloration. So we're trying to fact check the fact. Now, for me, I would say that the killings were localized to Southern Kaduna, the major killings. Now, Southern Kaduna is where there's a largely Christian population. So I'm just saying it's the population demographic, probably, and not the Christians themselves.
What I want to know is that who are actually carrying out the killings? That's what I wanted to know.
Even us, we would have even wondered.
I think, as far as I'm concerned,
right?
Even when there was killing,
yes,
initially it was about those Fulani herders. That's how it was started. Their cows are being, what do you call it, rustled at that time. So they started defending themselves. And gradually, before what is happening, they also tried to defend themselves. And the other people also tried to defend themselves. So before you know what is happening, it has escalated beyond control. And government, I don't believe there's any governor in this country that will come openly say, because I practice social religion, I'm promoting the killing of another person's religion. I don't believe any religion, any Nigerian can do this.
That's what I'm saying. That to me, I just believe that it's the area and then the people that were living there. Because that area has had, because Muslims were also killed in southern Kaduna, but just because the Muslim population is that low,
exactly,
it now looked like, and then the Christian population is that high. But I'm still saying it still behoves you as a governor, since you can see that locally this area is where the attacks are taking place. Before it even now, you've now gotten yourself in a mess that people will say, oh, it's Christians that were being killed. Before it will even come to this religious coloration, you could have seen, oh, southern Kaduna seems to be the most volatile and hit. And then he even made a statement and said, I'm never going to pay 1 naira ransom. So if the people are picked up, they could just keep the people over there. I'm never going to pay any ransom. So that made the abductors even bolder to some extent.
I knew the killings were taking place between themselves, because it is the Southern Kaduna Fulanis and the Southern Kaduna tribes that are doing their thing. It's not like somebody is going from another region, from another part of the state, going there just purposely to carry out the killings.
Right, that's what we're saying.
Just went
you knew
control.
that it was Southern Kaduna. I knew it was Southern Kaduna. Why didn't the governor know enough to try and quell it there?
Probably that would have been the language, not that he's been killing Christians.
That's what I'm saying. So now the language now came out that way, because
that's interpretation.
Yeah, and you would have saved yourself this ugly interpretation by being more proactive. if you knew that in this area, this is where killing is taking place, do something about it. Luckily for you, you even know that it's just that area. Now it turns out that the most people that are living there are Christians.
I remember
somebody who doesn't even come from Kaduna, somebody who doesn't even live there, somebody who knows nothing about there, this family. Now will come out and make this, sweeping allegation.
And unfortunately, you see, I remember I was among the people when all this thing was taking place. I was among the people that always like to write on Facebook about that the government should be seen to be up and doing.
Right.
The government should ensure that the necessary steps have been taken to curtail this killing that's continuously going on. Because
totally see
just
you on that.
As it kept continuing, then the Southern Kaduna youth also devised a strategy.
Right.
You know what they do? They will now come and put a roadblock along this Kaduna Abuja road. Yes, that what do you call it? Just Abuja Junction.
Yes.
The community before you reach Abuja Junction.
Yes.
They will just stop every bus that is passing. They will select every people that are identified to be Muslim and then kill them. That continued for a long time because they started taking revenge. They knew that their people are being killed in the localities in the Southern Kaduna area and the government is not doing enough. So they devised this strategy also. Everybody knew that down that I used to have a friend called Rashidi. He's a Yoruba guy. It was during one of such attacks that was coming from Abuja to Kaduna. They attacked the bus. In daylight too. In daylight, they attacked the bus, identified people that they could think they were Muslim, they just slaughtered them and killed them. That has triggered a lot of commotion and it stormed the whole state into disarray for quite a number of seconds. No, it has happened.
Wow.
It has happened. I know it's not even for the first time. Every Kaduna person knew that from time to time.
But the governor now didn't know. This is what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, but he should have been more proactive.
That is what we are saying. We said when those things were taking place, they should have curtailed it. It would have led on to this. Of course, we'll feel bad now.
I know.
Your people in the village are being killed. There's a government in place, and the government is not doing enough to curtail this. So people in the cities will now say, okay, now my uncle has been killed. I heard that my uncle has been killed. My cousin has been killed. So they will start to take measures. So what is happening in the rural areas has now had repercussion in the city center.
Right.
Kakao, that is Kakao area. I think those who are used to traveling to, like our producer knows about that. He knew very well that is how my friend now became totally paralyzed up to this very moment.
Oh, no.
He's now using plastic hand because they almost cut the hand. They put axe and hit his head.
And so many.
So a lot of things have happened. So as long as leaders do not actually take proactive action against things that are happening within their state, particularly things that relate to security, things that relate to religion and politics and ethnicity, will keep having it worse. And we in Kaduna, we have had our fair share of this crisis taking place.
Okay, but some people might argue that a sitting state governor is actually hamstrung. That a governor cannot command the commissioner of police to do anything. The orders have to come from Abuja. And they're practically...
But what the governor will have done is to put pressure on the federal government to have support.
Right. I was even going to say, so couldn't you? Because we never one day saw Nazir El-Rufai coming out, even if it's on social media, even if it's on the telly, even if it's an interview like this and say, oh, this is happening all the time in Southern Kaduna, in my area, nothing. So we didn't see any of him appealing to the federal authorities.
This is where I was faulting. Not that did he kill Christians. No. Not that. But did he take the required action that's supposed to take? No.
Yeah.
You understand?
That's what I'm
because
saying.
I believe not right-thinking leader will just come and say, because I'm practicing social religion, it will be my point now to start killing people that especially somebody that as educated as Nasir El-Rufai.
Right.
But did he take the required action she was supposed to take at that time? No.
Right. Okay. Well, another point then in that case, does that then support some people's plea now for state police? Incidences like this. Do you think state police would have been in a better position to contain this, being that it's a localized kind of...
No, you see, this state police, especially for states like Kaduna, Taraba, most of our states in the north, we are a heterogeneous society. The northern state, I mean in Nigeria. You understand? And when you are taking this state police, you will definitely have to take it from among the tribes of this particular state. I don't know whether you will understand the point I'm trying to make. Now, for example, you go and take a particular tribe and then say you are going to hate the state police. And maybe that particular person also has his own agenda. And they are not agreeing with people that belong to particular also class of people. he will decide to use those power at his disposal to torment, to take advantage of that power to molest other people.
Well, even
if
you don't know whether I understand you or not, I
Yes.
do know that you do know that it is the same application to the federal. So
Exactly, it's
are
the
we
same.
going to escape from that? You now see a situation whereby, let's look at this particular, let me even go back to the Buhari administration. The next person who was supposed to be the Inspector General of Police was retired ahead of his time in order that somebody from the same area with the president would be made the Inspector General. Come the time for retirement, he stayed on. Because the next coming person too was not from the area where the president comes from. Here we have President Tinubu. Oh God, no Nigerian that cannot. That's what I'm saying. So how will it? What different? What would be the bloody difference? So I'm saying it's the same thing. Now President Bola Tinubu is now in charge. Oh
everything
my God.
is now there.
Kayode Obeto Gunkudo, which was like he's never going to go.
Yes.
For him to go, now they had to retire the next senior set of people in order to bring another person, the Tunde Disu, who is now also, you know what I'm saying? So it's just going to be the same argument.
I know, but
if that's the case, let's even agree the governor now the governor is from, let's say, Kachia.
Okay, Kachia.
For want of argument, he now says, okay, the state commissioner of police for the state police must be from Kachia. At least other people that are working there are not going to be from that area. So if that's going to be the argument, then we might as well scrap federal police now.
But this is just one example. There are several other reasons why many Nigerians are not supportive of this idea of state police. Honestly speaking, the major one being how governors will now try to
manipulate them against all their opposition.
Exactly. I just gave that example because we are discussing issues that is related to that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I know.
Because I know some state, honestly, I know a state whereby if you take this position of maybe, is it state commissioner of state police or whatever title you want to give it to him, and give it to a particular people, they will definitely seek to make life unpleasant to certain group of people. I know that there are states within the north that can do that. So many, in fact, not even one state, so many states within the north. I just gave that as one of the reasons why people don't actually support it. But the major one is
how the governor will be the way out for a sitting governor who sees, say, there's killing going on, say, in southern Kaduna, and what should the governor do in that case?
Well, there are skills.
You've mentioned one very potent one, very pertinent one, and that's
seeking
you would have
support.
Yes, seeking federal support, and even from making the media more aware.
Exactly.
That's one.
Exactly.
A very potent one.
In every state, there are also agencies of government that are actually answerable to the governor, not directly answerable to the governor, but the governor will. That is why they are put there. The police, the DSS, the civil defense. You will see them always part of the governor's entourage.
Right.
And there's close synergy between them.
Right.
So what the governor should do is to exert great pressure and tell them that this is part of your mandate.
Yes.
You are expected to work along with me to ensure that this part of Nigeria, where I govern, there should be relative peace, and it's your responsibility as well as mine to ensure that this happens. But this is what governors sometimes do not do. This is what sometimes they don't do. Let's assume the governor during his time has held them responsible for this. We wouldn't have found ourselves in this situation.
I know.
We wouldn't have put that permanent
big allegation.
You wouldn't have had this permanent permanent state on him up to this very moment.
And for all we know, maybe this former minister had never stepped his foot in Kaduna during that period. Had never, because I remember when he said, no, there was a time he now said he was going around on tour of PDP states. Then he was in PDP. As at that time, he said APC Satan, and he can never join himself to the devil. He was going around the PDP states to go and, inspect. Well, in fact, the journalists had to ask him who is funding this campaign, and he nearly jumped up from his seat and slapped it. He never at that time bothered to go to like he said, to that state to fact check.
I know
so
many people will not like what I'm going to say.
No, you say what you gotta say.
So, Siba, this is one thing that I always try to tell the northern youth, whether you are a Christian or whether you are a Muslim, whether you belong to whatever religion or tribe, or as far as you are not, as well as the northern elders, people like me and above. We shouldn't always allow ourselves to be used by people that do. Of course, one Nigeria is one Nigeria, but we have regions. You understand? Before we practice this single American democracy, we used to have regions. northern region, western region, midwestern region, eastern region. All these things are there. So I have never found a situation whereby some leaders, either Christian leaders from the north or Muslim leaders from the north, will go somewhere and try to bring other people from other regions and try to incite them. Because for me, this is inciting. Because he was making this address when he gathered Christian leaders from the north.
Who he was making this address?
Yes,
this assertion.
Yes, that assertion.
When he gathered Christian leaders
from the north. Exactly. Fanny Kayode addressed Christian leaders from the north.
In what capacity?
I don't know. I don't know. What would you always allow
now an ambassador?
It's dangerous.
Abroad.
They are trying to see initially, particularly, let me speak about the two places that I know well.
You see, it's not that this is, this is like a television topic. Exactly. If not, on my own, naturally, any statement attributed to Femi Fani Kayode for me is jump and pass.
Why? What business do you have?
I mean, he's a total jump and pass
and then telling them. Let me tell you the other things he said. He said he claimed that Christians in Kaduna suffered killings, neglect, unequal distribution of development projects and resources under the former governor. He also stated that even Sani, the present governor, told me that he was aware of what he described as plans by El-Rufai that affected both Muslim and Christian. He even said that El-Rufai, former deputy governor's Bantex, was subjected to insult because of his region. What business do you have to gather people that come from one region simply because they practice the same race, the same religion, and to be telling them this? Is it not inciting people against one another?
And the funniest part of this man is that
why
this is somebody who categorically, didn't he say against President Bola Ahmed?
Everything. That's what I wanted to say. He said almost everything against the president before now.
What didn't he say about the APC? What did he not say? That God forbid, he called God forbid that he would ever be in the APC.
I wish you know.
Is that the type of person now that will come and say that El-Rufai killed all the Christians? Is that the type of person?
I wish you know how Kaduna used to be in the 80s. In the 80s.
Is that the person that we want to, to make his statement something that we're going to? This is somebody ordinarily, for me, is a total Mr. Jump and Pass. So, like we said, I think it will be.
Growing up, I used to know that you cannot separate, because this may be the house of Fulani, this may be house of Katab. Then the next one will be Yoruba. The next one will be Adara. We do everything together. I know people who
I grew up in Kaduna State.
Named by a Katab man because the husband.
I grew up in Kaduna State. I grew up in Zaria. And I used to come to Kaduna, like we used to come to Kaduna practically every weekend. A Kaduna weekend was like the happiest weekend of our time. So you don't even, I mean, as kids, we never saw anything. Nothing was, everybody was, welcoming, and there was nothing going on like that when we were growing up. And then what is even so annoying is the fact that, did you go when you felt El-Rufai was killing them? What was your position? No, I'm asking. Yes. You were now the Minister of Aviation or so, probably then. Couldn't you have entered plane and gone to ask him, please do something about, if you felt so bothered, if it was really your concern? He makes all these sweeping allegations.
They were friends. He said it.
The person who make friends with him, he
said it in one of his statements that him, El-Rufai, Nasru were at one time the closest friends because they were the youngest in that particular administration. Okay. They related very closely. So he had access.
Exactly.
He had access.
Right.
My guy, why are you doing that?
If you feel that he was
Did he do that?
I know.
Oh, we now gather people from
now that, and then the most painful part, like they said, you don't hit a man when a man is down.
Exactly.
This is a dastardly action in my eyes.
Obviously. Because
Nasir El-Rufai is currently in incarceration. Now you jump up and say, oh, Nasir El-Rufai killed all the Christians when he was. So are there no Christians remaining now in Kaduna? Since he killed all the Christians. There's no more Christian remaining from there. I mean, I think, look, at this point, it's
used to be really a very closely knit society of people.
He makes bogus statements, and this will not be 1/2/3 of any. And like I said, from our fact checking, I find this statement a little bit we cannot really justify it. On the surface, that is how it would look. But like I said, the residents of that area were mostly Christians
Christian, of
before
course,
the deaths
of course.
occurred. All right, it's on that note, I think we will just say we have finished with that topic, and we've also finished with the discussion segment. Interview every day with the discussion segment on the morning show. Let's just take a break. When we come back, we're going to go into the last and the final lap of the morning show on PMB television, and that is What's Trending. Abel Sunday will join us right after this.
I'm a member of the House of Lords in the United Kingdom, a former Minister for Energy and Climate Change, and a former Minister for Development. To all the listeners of PMB Television, it is wonderful to be able to reach out to you, to all of you viewers. Please listen and learn and take away lessons that will enhance your country, but wider the globe.
You don't tire for this picture. We are make you follow Unorodo. Nigeria don't go digital with free TV. Over 100 channels they with you. Sport, news, and better entertainment for your own language. No matter where you dey, whether for city or whether for village, the satellite signal they reach every corner of Nigeria from day one. No monthly payment again. Once you get Ogbonge free to air decoder, you don't win. This one, now our own national asset. Even from your phone, you feel watch out. Just download the free TV app and carry your TV go anywhere you dey go. Scan that code now or call 0700-388-7277.
Free TV, digital TV for free. Brought to you.
You have gotten the contract.
Have you checked for red flags?
Red flag.
What is a red flag? Allowing your company to fall into inactive status on the Corporate Affairs Commission portal is a red flag. Businesses marked inactive may come under watch for suspicious activities, money laundering, kidnapping, or terrorism financing.
Red flags. We have filed our annual returns with the CAC.
Ensure your company remains active. File your annual returns every year. Corporate Affairs Commission, keeping your business safe and compliant.
NBC.
Let's thank our technical team for bringing us back early. That way we'll have enough time to discuss. And that is for us to go into at the last segment of the morning show this morning. I'm still Mickey Atta, and still with me in the studio is Mr. Ibrahim Shuaibu. Good morning once again. And now we are joined by Mr. Abel Sunday. Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Mickey. Good morning,
You're
Mr.
very
Ibrahim.
welcome.
I think you guys had a very robust conversation about the Aerofy this morning.
Yeah,
I was
we
watching
did.
you guys, and I
did.
could see the bashing between Kayofa and Ivey, Abi Kaniga. What is that his name?
The bashing, both sides took the bashing anyway. When you're wrong, you're wrong.
Okay.
Whether a former minister or a
Don't
former
come and bash
governor.
us back.
Exactly.
Let's hit into it. Let's go through what is buzzing the internet, but it's becoming alarming. Most people will say that, is it because of the hunger in the land? Well, you can relate to that. Everybody have. I think it's already an should I say is a situation where you could create any assumption about it. A lot. I think there's a report, a police report that have confirmed that almost all the young people living at Maraba Yanya and also Balefi. Sorry, I did not pronounce that word well.
Right, Balefi.
Balefi.
No offense.
Their left kidney is missing. They sold it, and again, the report have also confirmed that there's an agent reside in Maraba that is harvesting this kidney and sending it. I think I could call that probably maybe black market of this kidney. What have you? I think you could see the pictures, and this is alarming. And could you say it's because of the hunger? We can relate it to anything, but I don't want to discuss any assumption. But let's get to look at. Also, I want to relate this video to the findings of very dark man that there's one boy that went to I think from hospital, he just discovered that without his consent, they harvested his kidney, and that case I think is really going on right now. But let's see the video, then we'll come back for a robust discussion. Probably this might be the only to discuss, because I think this has a whole lot of.
So the scan results we got from FMC, Federal Medical Center in Jabi, and the other results we got from Nisa Premier Hospital also in Jabi, it was confirmed that truly his left kidney was removed, right? So we took this whole information, we took the scan reports, and we went straight to the police station. When we got to the police station, we showed them this result, and the boy narrated everything. So it was confirmed that it was one of his friends that lured him to that hospital where his kidney was removed. Immediately he finished narrating, the police said they needed to move immediately to go and make an arrest. Because if those people get a hint that these people have come to report to the police, all of them are going to run away. So we all agreed, and immediately the police moved. So when the police moved, the area where the boys stay and where his friends they live is called Autaba Lefi. It's after Maraba, you meet Masaka. After Masaka, then you meet Autaba Lefi. Now, when the police got there to make an arrest, they arrested his friend. So our greatest shock, his friend's kidney have also been removed. Oh boy. No, things they happen for this country, I swear to God, bro. His friend's kidney have also been removed. His left kidney have also been removed. But from the information gathered, this his friend sold his own for 7 million naira. 7 million naira was what he sold his own. Now, I'll tell you for free, from the whole information we have gathered.
Okay, we've seen that. I was talking to Mr. Ibrahim, and you could see how bad the society has become. Before we were complaining about Yahoo Plus, Yahoo and stuff. Now, I think they've metamorphosed from Yahoo to kidney and all this. But looking at this, what do you think could be the reason of all this this situation?
It's very sad. Honestly speaking, it's very sad. This is a result of government denying its youth population the opportunity for growth and development. We are a country that has almost about 45% of the population of this country is youth. Some recent statistics are even saying almost 60. Recent statistics even saying 60. When I say 45, you see, you have to take the age, the middle age, and the infant aside. So, but now recent statistics is showing that the youth, they by themselves constitute almost 60% of Nigeria's population. Right. And then of this 60%, almost 50% of the 60%, or even 70% of the 60% are living in abject poverty. Not that they are not educated. Some of them are even educated. Some of them have at least O levels. Some have national diplomas. Some have HND degrees. Some even have masters. But
to an extent, they have. Yes, they have.
No employment. No employment from the government. Do you understand? So not even job. So you find youth finding themselves in a very strange situation, and then the peer group pressure, the competition between the among the youth themselves, that also may be may have necessitated them going other ways in order to make ends meet. You can imagine a situation whereby a young man will go and take himself to a hospital and say, "I'm here to sell my kidney." Ordinarily, even a middle-aged or an old person wouldn't have done that. Person that's almost near his grave, he will not even think about this. But see a young man, 20, 23, 25, going to the hospital to sell his kidney. And then even it has even passed beyond this level now. Friends are stealing their friends to go and sell their kidneys without the friends knowing about it. What kind of society are we in now? And government is aware of that. They are stealing billions, and is it billions? They are stealing trillions to sponsor their campaign now. But they cannot even create an enabling environment for the youth to prosper, for the youth to upgrade their skill. You understand? In a sane society, anybody that has BSc or HND, at least is entitled to certain privileges. Yes, if you cannot give him employment, at least give him what you call grant to start a business. At least he's educated enough. You are not giving him this money to waste. Do you understand?
You're just giving him to start off.
Start a business. That people do. That's not to say that people that do not have degrees will not be considered. No, think about other skills that you can teach to those ones as well. But you can either use them for example, in the north now, our leaders are deliberately denying education for the northern youth. It's deliberate.
That's why you see most
exactly,
people
it's deliberate. So that you continuously become a bandit, you continuously become a political talk, you continuously become somebody they can use and control. It's deliberate. I'm telling you, it's deliberate. Nobody can tell you anything to believe, just it's deliberate. The fact that educational sector is dying in the north is a deliberate attempt from the part of the leadership. Nothing more, nothing less.
Okay, Miss Mickey, looking at the situation on ground now, and looking at even what Mr. Ibrahim has also said, politicians putting the citizen in abject poverty, keeping them there, you could see the case of, well, I wouldn't know, probably that is his own way of giving back to the society. Organizing, I'm talking about the Kanu situation now, organizing mass wedding. For like 1,000 people,
so that more Almajiri will be given back.
I don't know about that.
I know about that. That's what I'm telling you. I think there's a particular word that Nikki loves to use. She said is it monetizing poverty or what?
Weaponizing
poverty. Okay, but look at this situation now, and a lot of that desperate. And come to think of it, taking off those kidneys, you might even something might go wrong. They might incur, maybe they might have some kind of sickness that even the 7 million, as a very dark man and even said, might not even be able to cure that sickness. But let me get your take on this.
Well, first of all, like I said, life is free. So if you've decided, you've made up your mind, you want to sell your kidney and you're of age. So the first thing I want to do, because I wish I had seen a little higher of them. They didn't look like they were up to 18, but I pray that they were. But if you're below 18, then that should be illegal. Again, your consent must be taken, because for anybody to perform an operation, there must be some consent. There must be a signed document, of course. Yes. Exactly. So in the case of the other one that lured his friend and then deceived his friends, I mean, that, like I said, is a very, very, very serious crime. But if the others are of age and they've decided to do it, then we want to look at the why. Why are you doing such a thing? Because clearly it's a case of serious desperation. Very, very serious desperation. The places you mentioned, where it's not as if they were living in a Matama, they were not living in a Asokoro. Yes, they were not living in a Guzapi. So these are people who are living on the outskirts. These are people who are living in the suburbs. These are people who might have been living. So you can already see that they fall under what we call LG, the low income group set of people. And you've left them so desperate, so alone. So sometimes I come out very early in the morning and I seem to see people as if they've just woken up from sleeping in the open. And I'm like, my goodness, did these people sleep out in the open? Now it's rainy season. What are they going to do? And you put them in a catch-22 situation to go. If you say, okay, go back to the village, it will be as if, oh no, you've come again as another burden, as another mouth to feed, and as big as you are, that kind of. So the parents are even very happy that they've shifted out to Abuja. It wouldn't even only be Abuja. It wouldn't be like they mentioned, Maraba and all that. Maybe probably we'll go around. The same thing is happening in different localities. If you go to the southeast, the problem they're going to be facing there is these baby factories. So we have people who are just the same thing, abducting underage teenagers, hiding them, warehousing them, and then they have this young stud who just goes through them, impregnates them, and as the babies are just, they utter their first birth cry, they pick them out and sell them for millions. I mean, all these ugly, nasty things. Like the Christians would say, these are signs of end times.
Indeed. I think anybody would say that because there's no more sign than this.
For me, I will always put this blame on the doorstep of the leadership and government.
Yes, obviously, you will say the leaders have failed. Has failed. Yeah, that's true. But looking at this going forward, I just hope that we're able to curb this, because I think this has eaten into the society so deep that we don't even know how we got here. I don't know how we are going to leave this place. But hopefully, I pray God help us and we are able to get out of this mess. But let's go to our next story. And again, Edo is still on the limelight, this time not for a good reason, for a very bad reason. The road, and a lot of people will now argue or raise an alarm. Why are you doing a coastal road when the other roads that are within the countries, or how I call it, is bad? If you look at that video, the video that is trending over the internet recently is if one full car sank inside you could see how bad it is. That tells you that that place already has so eaten so deeply, and the road is so bad, terribly. And even since last week till now, weekends, a lot of people slept on the road. Actually, Wari Road, a lot of people slept. Even those one going to the NBA convention in Port Harcourt, they were even there and they slept and the road there 2 days, 3 days. It is so bad. And of course, let's watch the video. Let me look at it. I'm already talking too much. Let's start with the video.
I can see why you are directly affected, because NBA is involved.
No, the NBA is the Nigerian Association.
Okay, I thought Nigerian Basketball Association.
But let's watch the video.
You go see small pikin for inside that car, oh. Jeez. Make the person save that small pikin. That boy. Hey, oh, that boy try, oh. The driver ask them where they rush. They going to see road not dead there. The motor don't sick. The motor don't sick for itself. Nigeria. Hey, Jesus.
The Bini, this is Agbo. This connects to I think Delta through, as if you are going to Asaba. This one, because this is the other axis of the road, because there's one Bini Wari, that bypass is also bad, but this other one is Agbo Road. It connects to Agbo, then Delta State.
The reason they carry this driver even safe.
But you could see trucks parked too. There is no road. Look at there's what is that Macapolo bus there? There's no road. The road is come on.
So you think everybody that's parked there?
Mr. Ibrahim, what I even wanted to ask is, Nigerians, the citizens don't even ask for more. Just give them good road, give them electricity and security. That's
simple.
All. Don't do anything again.
Simple.
It's okay.
That's what
is this too much to ask? Look at this.
Keep stressing upon.
And every time they tell you they spent, I think up to $11 billion. I don't know, as if my calculations are correct. I don't know.
That costs around $20 billion.
Yeah, that is the.
You can imagine
they spent that. But how much do we even need to fix our electricity?
See, there is just no political will. We are being put into this position simply because they just feel like doing it. We have every resources to make life easy for Nigerians. You understand what I'm saying? We have every resource in this country to make life easy for the citizen. So it's whatever you see happening in this country is planned. It's just deliberate. I'm telling you this because look at this. This is one of the oil producing said, Abi. Edo?
Yes,
it's part of it now. It's right, exactly. It's Niger Delta. It's south now.
Yeah, south.
But look, see how neglected they are. Simple road that pass through the city. You cannot even maintain it. You cannot even spread a new one there.
Miss Mickey, when you ask the governors, they will tell you that this is a federal road. It's not a state road. But what is the difference? The citizens are using it. So why are you saying this federal or this? Okay, if it's federal road, why is it that they can't come up to the aid of these people using that road daily? Daily, I beg your pardon. Do you get? So why is it also like this, Miss Mickey?
Because of the citizens themselves have decided to renege their responsibility. Because it had happened in the past. Federal roads, yes, this Benin Agbo road is a federal road. It had happened in the past to a whole lot of governors. Because of the way we're running our government now, we politicize everything. So a governor will come in, see his citizens suffering, carry state government money, fix up a federal road. The federal government will come in, inspect, do cost analysis, give out a price that they are going to pay, and refuse bluntly to pay that money until that has been
victim of that.
So many. I can give you an example of the Akwa Ibom state governor he was actually told that the money. This one happened in the case of what's it called? the onshore offshore incident, when it was judged that yes, offshore money must be paid, the president, sitting president, said he would not pay it until the next coming administration. Meanwhile, that was judged. You stopped it in a particular administration. Okay, we've had situations whereby we have governors who would make the roads. The federal government will come in and do cost variation, and at the end of the day, they will leave them. They won't pay the money. Maybe lying that they're going to pay in for subsequent administration. So if you call them federal roads and you can't pay, remove your hand from them and give the money directly to the states. And then the citizens themselves, you have to be up and doing. By the time the road came to such a situation, are there no youths in that place? You should have come and blockaded the road. Yes, come there and blockade the road. This has happened before. The same state that I was telling you about where their monies were held, some youths came to the road, another similar federal road, carried mini coffins, blockaded the road, and said, this place is a death trap. It's a death trap. So stop allowing us to die in this place. The federal government sent in farmer, and the problem was even much more than farmer. So you, the citizens, that you are suffering it, you say you are suffering it, demonstrate that you are suffering. Cry out in your suffering. If somebody is beating you, you have the right to cry. The state governors, you cannot blame. I cannot blame the Edo state governor. I cannot blame him, Monday or Okpebolo. Why he has not decided to do that road is because from past many experiences, the state governors will allocate little resources sent into the states, repair federal roads, bill the federal government. The federal government will attest to the bill and bluntly refuse to pay. Then they leave. The administration will end on a negative note. Probably they say, oh, this governor came in and all he did was to fix this patch of the road. Oh, after 8 years, he did nothing.
Okay, Mr. Ibrahim, as we wrap up in 1 minute, His Excellency, former governor of Edo State, Adam Shomile, on the floor of the Senate, he raised this concern, and he said, you don't know why Edo has been neglected. Because if you look at the roads, definitely, I think they've not felt the impact of the federal government in terms of road there. And he raised this motion there on the floor of the Senate. But do you think the Senate have every power to call the Senate? Because he said they should call the minister to order. But do you think they can pull any strings? Because if the Senate weigh in, do you think this can be solved in due time?
Of course, if they had, of course it would have. Do you understand what I'm saying? But they are their friends. They know. It is the governors that become the Senate. It is the senators that become the governors. They are together.
And ministers.
They are all friends. Do you understand? These three heads, they are together. You become a governor.
So they jump from one district to...
It's probably most time they start as ministers, then they will become one governors, then from governors they come to the national assembly. That's how they do. So they don't want to embarrass themselves. They don't want to hold each other accountable. If they had discharged their function adequately as prescribed by the Constitution, we wouldn't have found ourselves in such mess. I'm telling you, call the minister.
Because they could be checkmating all these guys.
That is their mandate. That's their constitutional mandate. Ask questions. You are the one that are actually approving budget requests. People have to come and defend their budget. Ministers have to come to you and defend their budgets. That this is the budget of so year, and this is how we intend to spend the budget. So it's already captured. It is based on that now the National Assembly will now clear that budget, and then for this become your budget allocated to your ministry. You are not doing this. What do you call it? Oversight function?
No.
Yeah,
no. They have abandoned the
oversight function. Exactly. But they are not doing that because they know this minister will tomorrow be part of it. Don't worry now. So what do you have for the boys? That's what they do.
No, then in which case we need to give kudos to Adams or Shomole and saying they missed all that. He still raised the motion.
Exactly.
At least he kept caring for his own people.
No, and sometimes they do this.
Right.
Particularly, I always remember too, like Indume.
Yes.
Indume always speaks out.
Right.
Adam or Shomole sometimes, often also does that when there's critical need for him to do that. There are only few of them that do this.
You could remember the budget defense of is it prison?
Let's assume at least 1/3 of the senators are performing like this, are asking questions like this. We have found ourselves in this mess.
I know.
Unfortunately, we ran out of time, and this is all I have for your What's Trending today. Over to Mickey to wrap up the morning show today.
Thank you very much, Abel Sunday. So we've seen what's trending, and boy, it's not even something to make us too happy. But on a cheery note, it is still talking about Edo State, actually. It's the birthday of the Edo State Commissioner for Information. Prince Kazim Afegbua. Happy birthday to you from all of us on Politics and Business Television on the morning show. Prince Kazim Afegbua is one of those rare breed Nigerians because he has now occupied the position of Commissioner of Information twice under two different but not successive governors. He was a commissioner under
Obaseki.
and then now commissioner again. Yes, under Monday Pueblo now. I think
the same portfolio.
Right, with the same portfolio. He's actually a media person. That's why he's very dear to us. And in addition, he was the media assistant, the special assistant on media to a former head of state, Nigeria's only military president, Ibrahim Babangida. So happy birthday, Kazim Afegbua.
And many happy returns.
Happy birthday from here too.
All right. On that happy note, I thought he was a commissioner under Adams Oshomole. Well, on that happy note, happy birthday, Honorable Commissioner. Keep on representing the media world. Keep on doing what you do best and wish you the best of the day. Right. We've come to a wrap up on the morning show, this beautiful public holiday. Enjoy your holiday. Enjoy the rest of it. To our Muslim brothers and sisters, we say happy Maulud.
Maulud Mubarak.
Maulud Mubarak to all our Muslim brothers and sisters. Enjoy your day. The rest of you enjoying a public holiday at home. But stay on with Politics and Business Television because Abel Sunday is right on seat to bring P&B Sports Show.